So NIO published this new video about the factory, and also they had a sort of a face-to-face conversation with a few NIO owners about the factories, sort of the production statistics, and also how the factory is doing overall. So we got this excellent video that showcases the things inside the factory. Now you're not allowed to film inside this factory, so this is the official footage from NIO. This is what they're willing to show you guys. But apart from that, even if I go to this factory, they're not going to let me film. So some of the very important things that he talked about, we'll talk about more the JEC factory transfer thing later. There's more information on that. But first of all, he talked about some very important statistics. For example, it takes only 14 days to turn raw material into a car, which is very, very high efficiency for NIO. And they are very satisfied with this speed, and they think this is actually one of the fastest in the industry, and especially with so many options and specs that you can choose from within the NIO app. There's so many customization options, and still to be able to achieve that in 14 days is incredible. And then he also really talked a lot about this the automation inside. And one of the key things he talked about was how some of the CEOs and upper management at other competitors, they like to go to the factory and screw on some bolts, something like that. But he said at NIO there's no such job like that, because for other competitors what you see is most of them, they might have like 95% automation for the chassis and frame of the car in terms of welding and stuff. Some companies only have 80%, but NIO has 100%. So basically there's no bolts for you to fasten or do anything like that. It's all done by robots. It's 100% automation. This is what one of the key things that he talked about. And then one of the core reasons why they were able to get the quality of their cars so high is because of the fact that they have robots dedicated for specific jobs. And a key example of this that he talked about is, for example, attaching the doors onto the car. With some of the competitors, you might see panel gaps, you might see not properly lined up. And he really talked more about this. And he said that, with a robot attaching a door, he might attach perfectly well for this door. But then if you go to the other door, and if you let that robot attach the other door, because of just minute differences, it might not be 100%. So to achieve 100%, you got to have 4 robots attaching doors at the exact same time. And of course, there's challenges to that, but the overall result is much, much better than just having one robot do all the doors attaching. So those 4 robots can attach all 4 doors within 100 seconds. And NIO has 100% automated welding and connecting of parts. So that's anything that has to do with connecting parts together and it's metallic, then it's 100% done by robots. So the level of automation is just incredible if you look at the factory. Now, one other really interesting thing that he talked about was how, because of NIO and how big NIO is and NIO's success, William Lee has essentially, because of the partners and everything, gotten over 40 different companies, like suppliers and product part suppliers, to form their company here in Hefei, the city of Hefei. So that, in essence, was really good in the perspective of the government. And the government actually gave William Lee an official job title, which is like chief hiring something. And that's very, very prestigious. And he actually gets paid by the Hefei government because he's able to get so many of these companies to come to Hefei. And apparently his payment, his salary from the Hefei government is even higher than his salary at NIO. So the president said this has become William Li's primary source of income. Half jokingly, he's saying that. So obviously, you can imagine NIO's impact in the entire city of Hefei is massive. All right, it is absolutely massive. And then he also talked about the recent big information, which is also my previous video about the asset transfer. Now, there's rumors that it's going to NIO, but it seems like it could be anybody. So it's just whoever wants to take over the factories, they could, and they're trying to get that done. So what he's saying is that yes, this thing is happening, right? He said it is happening. However, it does not affect their operations, either JAC or NIO's operations. So it's very, very peculiar because from the news leaks that I read about for my previous video, it sort of indicated that the asset transfer was going to NIO. However, coming out of the president's mouth, he did not confirm that they are taking the assets themselves. So it could be that, yes, they might take over the factories themselves and just fork out the money and then also get the manufacturing license. And that would be awesome. But it is also possible that someone else might take over the factory and just invest in this factory. And I don't really see why JAC kind of gave up. I don't want to say gave up, but are moving away from this because JAC is quite profitable. Or maybe it's just they're trying to get some more money to raise some more funds, perhaps by transferring this out and essentially selling their ownership in the factory. But the key takeaway is that things are still progressing. There's more information that will be coming in the future. And my opinion is, it's pretty much has to be NIO. I mean, who else would be able to take over? And it could be a conflict of interest. If, for example, some other company that has a lot of money comes in and just takes over the factory and says, no, NIO, you're not allowed to build cars, or tries to jeopardize things. So that would be a big no-no. I think it should just be NIO. They gotta just fork out the money and then just buy the factory, make it their own. There's nothing wrong with that. Put out the money, you get to improve margins, you get to improve everything. That's amazing.